Thursday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald with you as we get toward the end of the week. We're grateful to see everybody back here tonight. And, you know she has to be special if we bring her back 2 times in a week. And we're grateful to have Leslie Milwee with us, our dear friend, tonight. Leslie, so good to have you on the phone. How are you, dear?
Thank you. I am wonderful. I am so happy to be here.
I'm glad you were. Listen, I want you to, we're glad you're okay. I wanted you to share a little bit what happened. We've had a dangerous week of weather starting on Monday, but Tuesday and Wednesday, the last couple of days, the heartland, it really started in northeast Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, and you all had a close call where you're at, and we're glad you're okay. But I understand your house suffered a little bit of damage, but there was other places that suffered a lot worse damage where you was at.
Yeah, it was exactly as the crow flies, 1 mile from our house. A lot of damage. People lost pretty much their whole home because the roof blew off and everything was scattered. I think in our neighborhood it was mostly just fences were down and sheds were overturned, but it was an F1 tornado, so it did sound like a roar. I didn't particularly think it sounded like a train. I know that's one thing. I think I've heard tornadoes in the past, but this was just a roar, and it might have been just from the wind trying to, blow off roofs. It was crazy. I am not happy to go through that. I hadn't probably been through that bad. Probably in 50 years, because I've only been back in Oklahoma for 5 years, so not something fun, but we will get through it.
Right. In all your years in Oklahoma, have you seen? Because this outbreak has really been to your east in Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana. Indianapolis got absolutely whacked last night, and terrible weather. But have you seen a spell like this where we've had almost 5 days of? I'm looking at the forecast charts, and tomorrow is actually going to be more intense than today. And it's going to get worse. And they were talking about that there's no let up to this, and we're looking at a generational type event, buddy. I tell you, it's unreal. What have you ever been through any of these like this in Oklahoma?
I have. And you wonder, and I'm not a meteorologist, so don't take this out of context, but I don't know if it's, La Nina or, exactly what it is, these weather patterns. We went through this in about 1972, I'm dating myself, to about 1975. There was a period, it literally obliterated just absolutely neighborhoods pounded to the ground. There would be cars in the trees that were left, and, it was crazy. I was gone for a long time. I do know, I think in 2011, there was that horrible
the outbreak
suburb of
right.
Oklahoma City where it killed all those kids in that elementary school. That was just a horrible thing. So that's been about 13 years ago. So, yeah, I think it's like any weather. It goes through cycles, and I don't know if it was that horribly bad or I was a young child and thought, wow, this is unbelievable, and you could remember it from that point. But, yeah, I don't remember. There's not been anything like this in the 5 years that I have been here. So
yeah.
I think, we're just going through weather patterns. But
well, every year's different. We didn't have anything. There was a few outbreaks last year, but I don't think I've remembered these days being this intense. Back to back to back to back, and then you've got.
I was going to say day after day, and guess what? We're going to get snow on Sunday morning.
I heard. I heard that. All the conspiracy theorists. Look, I'm holding my breath because I'm waiting for all the climate change nuts and the geoengineering nuts and all these other people that don't seem to want to give God the credit for controlling the universe and being the Satan's the prince and power of the air kind of stuff. Look, we're in a shaken world, Leslie. Look, the bottom line is our earth is cursed, and, it is shaking, and we're in the end times. And I just think these things are going to get more intense as we get closer to the coming of the Lord.
Yeah, it talks about that even in Mark, Philippians, and of course in Revelation, they talk about that. So we know there's going to be increase in earthquakes. There was that terrible earthquake recently in India, just horrible things. So, yeah, I mean, I think things are getting closer together. There's less time between major catastrophic events. And yeah, you're right. I mean, who would have ever thought that half of LA would burn down?
That's true.
I mean, that's
true. Let me ask you this. I'm glad you're okay, and we'll move on from the weather because we've got some stuff we're going to share on our news wrap-up part of the show tonight. But what's your thoughts so far? Looking at the markets went a little nuts today. They're getting nervous about these tariffs. And Leslie, I don't understand why our side loses our lunch over stuff that we just should be calm about. And, you sort of expect the liberals to lose their mind and their heads and their lunch. But it just frustrates me when our side does the same thing. And it's like we've run to the hills, the sky's falling, Chicken Little is dead. Water's not wet anymore. The sky's not blue anymore. And after all these years of America being taken advantage of, Trump has done the right thing with these tariffs. And again, he's offered an olive branch. He offered an olive branch to all these countries and said, look, I'm willing to talk to you. If you want to deal with us fairly, we'll deal fairly. We'll talk turkey. France is out there tonight. Macron claiming that they don't want Europe to invest anything in the America economy, until Trump drops these tariffs, but they don't talk about dropping their tariffs. And I'm sorry.
Well, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this has been decades in the making. Decades. And that's why we elected him. We told him to do this. This was our mandate. He is following the people's mandate. And I'm with you. It just irritates me. I was just watching Jesse Waters, and I was happy to hear him, say, hey, guys, get a grip. Even if we do have 6 months or a year of a downturn, we have to fix this ship. You can't keep sailing on the course you're going and expect to survive. We're not going to have any money for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, everything. You can't operate trillions and trillions of dollars in debt and expect that to be perpetual. Yeah, I'm with you. And you know what? I'm willing to suck it up and take a hit. And I don't think it's going to be as great as people think it is on the Democratic side. I expect a little bump, don't you?
I do too.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's not going to.
But it's going to be. Yeah.
But Leslie, I'm going to say this. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think it's going to be even that big a bump. I think a lot of these nations are going to realize they need us a heck of a lot more. We need them. Look, America ingenuity.
Absolutely.
America's got the resources right now. We don't need the Arabs' oil. We don't need Europe's goods. We don't need China's worthless products in our market. We got Americans. We're Americans, for God's sake. We make stuff here. We're the land of the free. We're the land that brought most of the inventions of the industrial age to the world. We did. Not Europe, not anybody else. We did. And you can't tell me that we can't suck it up a little bit and tell Europe and tell the nations of the world, you don't want to do business with us, that's fine. Because I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take our money and we're not going to invest it in you either. We're not going to, and you know something? I see all these companies coming to America for a reason. I think in the last couple of days or weeks, this is a story the media has not reported. Trump's almost brought $1 trillion back to the country, Leslie, just in investment and just in people building plants.
I heard him talking about that. I mean, he brought a couple of Japanese companies over. He brought, I think I can't remember everyone, but yeah, you're right. He's doing all these things behind the scenes, and you know what? He is very, very seldom wrong, and I trust him to know that these people are going to come begging back to us. The only bump I see there is maybe China. I don't know that they will bend immediately because they have a lot of crap. And they make a lot of stuff, but they still need us. They're still going to need help from Europe, and other parts of Asia, and I mean, just what they're getting. They don't have all the resources. We have almost every resource we need.
Yeah, it's interesting that Trump tonight, this is being reported just an hour or two ago in Gateway Pundit. He says that every country has called the White House in response to his tariffs. I bet they have. I bet that I bet they're about to. I just think they're going to fold like a match in a hurricane. Look, the Canadian guy did. I mean, Canadians, that Ontario Mayor Ford, telling everybody he's going to make it as painful as he possibly can for America on Monday and Tuesday. He's Trump's lapdog and calling Trump up and begging him and saying, "Hey, I think we can talk. Let's negotiate." Look, I think it's good that they respect us like this again. It's what we need. We're Americans again. This is our nation. Yeah. Come on.
And why should we pay? We're the ones that produce, and like you said, we have the ideas. We have Apple. We started making cars. We had Henry Ford. We had all these great innovations, and we will continue to have that. And I'm sure they realize it. Maybe they're just trying to play hardball. But what's fair about, charging us 60% tariff and we charge them 4%? What is fair about that?
Nothing. Nothing's fair about that. And not only that,
he's not asking for them to give us something. He's asking for fairness.
All he's asking for. And Leslie, when you get down to it, I keep bringing Kevin O'Leary up, the guy from Shark Tank, smart guy. And when I first watched Shark Tank, I should say, I couldn't stand Mark Cuban. I had to stop watching it because I just absolutely detest his attitude. And O'Leary always, I liked him, but he seemed so arrogant. But the more I listen to him, he has got a lot of common sense. And he said the other night on Gutfeld show, he said, look, in a perfect world, none of the nations should be putting tariffs on anybody. We shouldn't be doing this to anybody. He said it hurts everybody. And he said if people will just come to their senses, and it makes you wonder who came up with the bright idea to tax these goods going into other nations. Because, again, nobody wins. And we had Corey Aguilar in the house the other night. She made a great point. She said, at this rate, if we do this, we'll have enough money where we won't have to pay income tax. We'll have enough money coming to the Treasury that we as citizens won't have to pay income tax anymore. I'm all for that.
Well, I don't even mind a small flat tax. And if you want to make it, just a flat tax across the board, that seems fair if we have our budget balance.
Right.
And I don't know if that'll happen anytime soon. I'm okay with just reducing it greatly. I really like Musk. I can understand how he's starting to get on people's nerves. He's kind of an odd guy. But, the bottom line is he is smart. And he is surrounding himself with geniuses who know how to fix things. So I'm okay with that. I don't have to watch him every time he steps out,
Are you hearing that he's getting on people's nerves? I don't see anybody's getting on nerves except the left.
Well, that's true. I've heard a few comments, kind of side comments. Well, I think he is loving the limelight and stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, he probably is. He's probably the most influential inventor of this century, and we need to learn from him.
But But isn't that sort of, to me, is that not the state of affairs of our land tonight and the state of affairs of the mindset of people? That they're more worried about whether he thinks he's doing this for show than the billions, if not approaching trillions of dollars that he may be able to save us. And again, that's all people can see is whether he's a prima donna or not. And look at the way I look at it, the man's earned his money. He's made these trillions not by being a dummy. He's made his billions by not being a dummy. Just like Trump. Trump is a billionaire. He's a smart man. They're business people. And who are we out here in the John Q. public that will never see that kind of money in most cases? And look, I don't I've never been awestruck by Elon to the point that I believe that he's going to get everything right. There'll be mistakes made, I'm sure. There'll be things cut that we probably should have been better to use. As Trump said, I like what he said, use a scalpel, not a sledgehammer, and surgically get this stuff done. But Leslie, at this point, we can't get any worse of shape financially than we're in right now. Doge was put up for a reason to do exactly what he's doing. There's nothing Elon Musk is doing that Trump has not asked him to do. I don't see him intruding. I don't see him making some sinister move on the government. All these leftists and even some of these right people, these rightists, that they've got nothing better to do and too much time on their hands than to paint 666 on his forehead and draw devil horns on him and put conspiracy talk out there that he's the Antichrist and all this nonsense that drives me to drink, because they got nothing better to do and they got no more spiritual depth to do than that. And that's all they do. And then if he was to stop doing it, the country goes bankrupt. These same people would say, well, I don't understand why we're bankrupt. I don't understand why Trump didn't do something about it. I don't understand why the government didn't keep us from going bankrupt. And then they'll sit there and whine when the government is doing something to keep us from going bankrupt. Is that not true?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. People are fickle. It makes me crazy. And I'm in for the long haul. I believe we're doing the right thing. I believe it's something that should have been done 50 years ago, and it's just perpetually snowballed. I'm in it for the long haul. I think that the economy, well, they had some union members from Detroit. I can't remember if it was Trump that was up there, but I think he was. And they were like going, this is the greatest thing we've ever heard. We're going to quit making cars in Canada. We're going to quit making cars overseas that are tariffed. We are going to start putting these empty, crazy buildings that have been outdated and obsolete for 10 years. We're going to put them back to work. So, I mean, that will be humongous. That will be hundreds of thousands of workers.
Yes, it will. And people would more worry whether Elon's the Antichrist than rejoice over the fact that we've got millions of people probably going to get back to work. They're more concerned about this left fringe, right fringe conspiracy stuff than to look at the fact that we've got a chance, Leslie, a chance to right this ship.
I know.
And it may not be overnight. It may take time. There's going to be some pain involved. There's going to be some mistakes along the way. Trump's going to make mistakes. Elon's going to make mistakes. His cabinet's going to make mistakes. People are going to do things that people out here don't like. But it's life. It's government. And I will tell you this, I sure as hell would rather have Elon Musk and Donald Trump running the show tonight than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And can we not just be happy that we've got President Trump in office?
I totally agree with that. I thank God every day. I was talking to somebody who, I'll just say they're a suspected liberal. I'm not sure. I can't confirm, but they said to me, well, Leslie, you as a Christian, this must really bother you that Elon Musk is doing all of this stuff for the government. You know he's not a Christian, right? And I said, well, I don't know what's in his heart and, his relationship with Jesus. I'm just glad I know about mine.
Bingo, thank you. Say that again. Wait a minute. Say that again, what you just said. I love it. Say that again.
My friend said, Elon Musk is not a Christian, Leslie. You're a Christian. How can you support that? And I said, well, I don't know what's in Elon's heart, but I know what's in my heart. I'm saved. But one important point I told her is you have to understand that God doesn't promise it's only going to be Christians that help us out of tough times. I don't know if Elon's a Christian, but I know God uses people that aren't Christians sometimes. I see that every day. It doesn't mean they're not good people just because I wish everybody, knew Jesus. But the point is God can still use people in situations. So I have to believe Trump's a Christian, and I believe he has this mission, and God has put him on this mission. And I think that's part of the reason why things have shaken out like they have.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And, and so forth. And folks, we've got Leslie on phone. We're doing the best we can with the volume, and please keep your comments about the sound. If you got a problem with the sound, McFiles4@gmail.com. We'll do the best we can. I think she's sounding fine on my end. Listen, Leslie, a couple of other quick things tonight. The situation that is developing with the Congress tonight, I do want to ask you about this horrible situation that happened with the voting, and they've shut the vote down this week because of a technicality, because Luna put forth, her and Burchett and a few other Republicans voted with the Democrats. What was your talk of, you're a mother, and the big old deal was that they wanted to vote in proxy because if a woman's pregnant, they wanted to have them have the ability to vote by proxy, but then they shut the government down for a week and the House basically by doing what they did. Why do we get ourselves in these messes in Congress? Why do we do this stuff as Republicans?
It's a nightmare. I mean, I think you suck it up for a few weeks. You get back when you can. We can't allow this. This is COVID-like situation. Let's do all these things from home and on video. You can't do that. You cannot run a country that way.
No, you can't run a country that way. Did you hear about the Georgia Democrats today that walked out? They walked out of the vote because the Republicans in my home state of Georgia basically voted to keep transgender men out of women's sports and also not pay for transgender changing by prisoners in prison with taxpayer money.
It blows me away. And, of course, look at them. Did you see them? The blue hairs, the pink hairs, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I'm not offending anyone.
No, you're not offending me.
But you could spot them a mile off, and it's like when you're asking about Doge, and isn't it great to save all this money, and a Democrat looks at you and says, Musk is evil. It's like, what?
I know.
What are you talking about? You don't want to save money. You don't want to get to the head of the snake of corruption. That's not what you want. That's basically what they're saying when they resist and they do all these things. And that was crazy in Georgia. I just saw that. I saw them standing on those steps, and I thought, what a bunch of losers.
Well, and our friend Juanita Broderick, she said that's why you guys have an approval rating of 21%. And that's exactly why they've got an approval rating of 21%. And it's probably going to go down if they keep this mess up. But, it's like Senator Kennedy said in Louisiana the other day, and I'm quoting him. He said, who am I to stand in the way of my opponent when they're kicking their own ass? And he said it. I didn't say that. That's his quote. And I think, something, that's how we feel. So let him do it. Just let him do it.
Yeah. I think it's, what do you think about this judge in Wisconsin? I think it was probably a given that was going to happen. Liberal winning.
I don't think that, I don't think this is going to be as serious as people are claiming. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't matter how much they gerrymander, Leslie, we can win the House if people will just get out and vote. If people will get out and vote and do our job on the Republican side, there will not be a worry what this liberal judge does. If the people of Wisconsin, she won handily. I've seen all the reports on Gateway that people are swearing up and down there was cheating again and the ballots wasn't there. And I think ultimately, I don't know, when you win 55-44, that's an 11-point win, okay?
Yeah.
In politics, that's like the Astros beating the Braves 20-2, okay?
Yeah.
That's a rout. If this would have been a 51-49 vote or a 50.8 to 49.2 or something like razor thin, then I would say, yeah, there may have been some shenanigans. But I'm going to tell you something. I was shocked at the margin. I was too. I wasn't really shocked that she won, but I was absolutely floored at the margin. And it does, what I'm curious to know is what the Republican voter, because see, the media is playing it up that there was a record turnout of voters in Wisconsin yesterday. And or Tuesday, what I want to know is how many Republicans showed up to vote, because it's what happened in Pennsylvania. They sit there and let a House seat that had been in Republicans' hands since 1978 go blue. You know why? 28% voter turnout. In this case, the Dems got out and said, you know something? We care about this House. We care about this Supreme Court seat because we want them to screw around with the districting lines. So they got people to the polls in record numbers. I wonder what the Republicans did. I would guarantee you that's the figure I want to see. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're right. I don't think it had the urgency that the Democrats had. There's no question. They also had so much dark money. They had Soros, just so much. I know it was 10-1. Now that shouldn't really matter. I mean, some of the the Pennsylvania seat and the seat that just came up that I'm not Pennsylvania. Where am I talking about? That we just won, the New York.
The New York, Florida.
Well, that's coming up, and then, but Elise, and what do you think about that? Elise Stefanik having to step down. I think that's kind of sad.
Well, I'm actually glad she did. I think that she's going back to the House. I really was concerned that, because see what was happening in the New York situation. Leslie, was the rhinos were screwing around with the seat. They were trying to put a person in her seat that was not going to support President Trump. So you basically would have had a Republican in name only again. I think for right now, I think it's wise. He can always put her back in. If we get the House fully in our hands in 26, he can always do this thing again, and it don't matter who they put in that seat. But I'm telling you, if we don't keep this House in 26, everything Trump's doing is going to be unraveled, and they are going to come after him with the sink, and God knows what they're going to do to Elon Musk. And these judges that are running amok, they will get a mandate like they've never had, and I'm telling you, it's going to be an ugly scenario, and I keep screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming. This is why elections matter. Even state elections matter, and federal elections matter that are not presidential. You need to go vote, even if it's for the janitor down at City Hall, because
and that's where Republicans too. They were talking about the Trump being on the ballot and him not being on the ballot.
Shouldn't matter.
Just very little.
Shouldn't matter.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter that these people need to get out and vote. I mean, I went and voted on my smaller town. Well, it's not really a small town, but 40-some thousand people, and I went and voted for my school board people. That's so important. People need to do local level, they need to do state level, they need to do national, and it shouldn't matter whether or not it's the president on the ballot or not.
Yeah, so. I'll agree with that. I totally agree with that. Very good stuff tonight, friend. Got any final thoughts? Just was looking at the headlines to see if there was anything that's really sticking out here. I am very concerned about the Supreme Court getting these court cases. Do you think that we hold the line at the Supreme Court if these rogue judges go up to all these cases go before them?
Well, I have to say that's probably my most pressing thing I'm worried about right now, that you can have one of these judges have the power over the president. I mean, I have to think in my logical brain that these people will do something about that. And John Roberts and, we know 3 or 4 of them, but, like you said the other day, I don't know about Amy Coney Barrett. I don't think she's a Trump fan.
No, I don't either.
But I hope the law overshadows everything that these people feel, because we can't allow judges on this level to, affect change. And that's basically what they're doing. And there's already so many lawsuits. This isn't the only one. That's the biggest one right now. But, I have to think that, and I'm not sure this Hunter Biden thing is over yet. I know that Trump pardoned his former business partner so that he could get more information, and I love it. I hope we do. What's coming out about Biden is blowing my mind. Do you know when they were practicing for the debate, this just came out of this new book that's getting ready to get released. He literally thought he was the president of
NATO. Yeah, I saw that today. He was the president of NATO.
And it was a really big deal to him. And I'm like, oh my God, and Ron Klain says, no, sir, you are the president of the United States. He goes, but I'm president of NATO. I mean, I think we're going to be blown away by how little of a country we had for 4 years.
Yeah,
it's mind-blowing.
I'll agree with that. Corey Aguilar also, and I'm glad she brought this up. Corey, good to see you tonight. She said, I'd like to know what the purpose of Cory Booker's 24-hour rant was. Well, I know what it was for. It was to basically confirm us that he was nothing but a jackanapes, and I got another word for that tonight. But this is a Thursday night family show on the McFiles. But was that bizarre or what? And it's ironic that it's done the same day that the House gets shut down. I don't think there's any coincidences in D.C.
Well, and, they didn't just walk out of it. They ran out of it. You could see that door flipping and swinging time after time.
I know.
It's a fruitcake. I'm like, what was his motivation? Did he have a valid reason? Maybe
no.
I'm not getting it.
No, he didn't.
He said nothing, and he got he must have been popping a few, I don't know.
Him and Nancy must have been drinking early up on the hill.
He got pretty, his normally bulging eyes became even more so. I mean, I thought he looked deranged there at one point. It was crazy. I would have been afraid of him if he'd been out on the street. So,
listen, what is wrong? But I'm glad you brought that up. What is wrong with these Democrats? And I know that there are a bunch of insane people. I get that. But where did this thing get off the track with this party? I mean, I don't understand why they're so anti-American and they are willing to kill the country and destroy the country for the Trump hate. I know it's demonic. I know it's a spiritual issue. But from just a political point, just from a standard human point, you would think that there would be at least some common ground that they would want to see the country succeed. But these people are out to destroy America top to bottom. It's crazy to me.
Well, I think, and you have people like Hillary Clinton and to some extent Obama, and that you had the Susan Rices and the Ron Klains and the Jay Johnsons behind the scenes when Trump was failing miserably. Somebody had to be running the country. I've always thought it was Obama, but I'm not sure now. But I think things really went off the rail for the Democrats after the Hillary loss. And the fact that she could not accept it, and her anger and her vitriol, and just, I think those that bought into her just absolutely went nuts, and it's spread. It's like a cancer that has spread through the party. You can't have conversations with Democrats anymore. I mean, I didn't ever buy into what they were saying, but I always loved the ability that I could make a valid point, and hopefully they would understand. But we're way past that.
Yeah, we are too. And I think you're right. I think you're onto something. I think when Clinton came into office, I think that that second term of his, that he sort of, I don't think he was ever going to the middle. He only went to the middle for political reasons. Him and Newt came in, tried to get things passed. And then he went right back left in the final 4 years of his presidency, and the Dems have been left ever since. Al Gore would have, people. I don't have any love lost with the Bushes. I'm not a Bush apologist. I'm not a Bush fan, but I will tell you, I would have rather had Bush Jr. a hell of a lot more than Al Gore in 9/11. And people can say what they want to about Bush. He did some good things. Gore wouldn't have done any good things. Gore would have been Bernie Sanders in the White House because he's so liberal, crazy, and is a loon bug. And I don't think that this trend is going to end. But I look at it this way: if this is the direction that party wants to take, and they want to keep having their approval rating at 21%, just keep it up. I mean, again, I'm not going to stop them. I mean, if this is how they want to play it, let them play it. But we on the right do not need to play into that either.
No. And I mean, it's sad for our country. We are so divided, and, it's almost at the point where people have to pick a side, and you almost have to declare your side. And that's so sad because even 25 years ago, you could talk with about anyone, and even if you did know their political persuasion, it wasn't an end-all be-all. I think, of course, with the hanging chads and the Bush and the war kind of started that. But yeah, and I think, I'm not a Bush fan either, but I am grateful that he was around on 9/11. But
I do.
I think the tipping point was probably the loss for Hillary in 2016. I think that was the beginning of hate.
Okay.
Pure hate.
That's a good point. I think that you're on to something there. I do. I really do. I think that is, and I really never thought about that. But that if you look back, that's 8 years ago, and the last 8 years of this country have been brutal. It has been brutal to be a conservative. It has been ugly. Some of the stuff that's been done in the name of Trump hate. It really has been.
I mean, they've done everything to this man. It is amazing. And now Elon, of course, it's just a fragment of what, Trump's been through. But this poor man has lost billions of dollars because he's working for free to make things better for every American. I mean, think about that. He's getting car bombs on his dealerships. He's ridiculed. Why are we doing that to that poor man?
Well, 18,000 threats, hon. That's a lot. Do you realize how many threats that is? 18,000. That's just in the last few months. That's 60 days. That's unreal. I mean,
it's tragic that we, and he was just the little darling of the Democrats. And looking back, I don't think he ever really made his political position really known. I mean, I think everyone said, well, he voted for Hillary and all this. What was his turning point? I was thinking that. What was the point where he said, this is ludicrous? What am I supporting here?
Yeah, that's a great point, and I don't know that answer. I don't know that answer, and I think that is going to be something that has to be, but probably at the end of this, when all this is over with, that's what we're going to find out. Leslie, I could keep you all night, buddy. Thank you for coming on, and I'm glad you and Bill are safe. And listen, we're going to have you back on next week. We're going to try to get a panel together, you and James Akers again, and Magdalene, and let's all talk about the elections. I love that. And go Astros. They're my new team since my Braves are 0-7. But
you'll get there. Just have faith. Been there, done that.
I'll put it like this. Chris has got the better odds of winning the presidency in 2028 than the Braves do of getting to the playoffs this year now. So that's not good. Well, I'm just saying.
You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a lot of newbies, too. It's hard watching it, but...
It is. It's baseball season, though. That's why we love baseball. All right.
Okay, well, have a great night.
You too, Leslie. Thank you, dear.
Okay.
Bless you now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Leslie Milwee, everybody. I apologize. The microphone evidently had gotten switched to the camera, and that's why we couldn't hear as good as we normally do. But I got it fixed at the end. But rule of thumb, folks out there, please, if we've got an issue, we're very aware through here. Just email us at McFiles form. I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but you know better out there, the ones that were doing it. Liz Goldman, good question. She says, anyone who fights to kill babies has lost their soul and will go for anything that with their hatred of Trump. Liz, I'll agree with that. I think it's a little bit deeper than the babies. To me, that's always been my issue with this party. Your point is well taken. If they can't protect the most innocent among us and the babies, they're not going to protect us. And it's both are symptoms of a deeper soul issue, and I don't know again if they want to get that fixed or not. I don't see anything in this party that they want to change. I don't at least right now. And until they keep losing elections, and I think a year and 9 months from now, we're going to find out if the country wants to go back and put these people back in power. I pray to God they don't. But I tell you, a year and 9 months is an eternity in politics, and it concerns me on our side, even 2 months into Trump's presidency, that people have gotten so discontented already. And it's like, I don't know what they expect of Trump. I don't know what they expect of Elon Musk. I don't know what they expect of our government. I look at the same frustration people have with Pam Bondi. They think Pam's going to wave a magic wand and haul everybody that's bad into jail. You can't do that. People got upset that Trump had a Ramadan celebration at the White House this week. Ramadan ended the weekend on March the 29th. And Paul White was there. And all, you know what, has been breaking loose over Twitter and people posting all this stuff about to make sure that the world knows that Trump had a Ramadan celebration. And folks, Ramadan is it's the Islamic holiday similar to a Jewish feast day. And there was a report that they said that this year's Ramadan, there were less jihadist attacks in Israel on Ramadan this year than there's been in 3 decades. And a lot of that is because the IDF has basically taken control and ridded Israel right now, at least in Gaza, of these terrorist elements. It's amazing what happens when you do your job. As far as Ramadan goes, folks, I don't like it no more than anybody else. Look, it's a holiday to celebrate a religion that wants to kill us and wants to kill every Jew in America and every Jew in the world. But President Trump cannot be just the president over the Christians. He's the president of the United States, folks, and we live in a nation that people have diverse faith. I wish that was not the case. I wish everybody knew Jesus. I think we can agree with that. But everybody don't. And he cannot just be president over one little group over here. And I think that's what Christians expect. And it's not reality. It's not reality. You know, it's funny. When Obama was in office, and he did the same thing, but he did it toward the Muslims. I mean, he never had any kind of Christian faith people in his White House. And Biden surely didn't. Trump was just trying to respect those in our nation. If you're going to have freedom of religion in America, that's what it means. It means you're free to worship who you want to worship. Now, that's political. Spiritually speaking, I can start preaching tonight and tell you that Jesus is the only way to heaven, and people that don't believe in Christ are not going to go to heaven. That's a spiritual statement. That's a biblical thing. But when it gets down to that presidential office, you can't alienate certain religious groups just because you don't believe in what they believe in. But what concerns me with our side is that we lose our lunch, and we lose our focus, and we lose our peace. People get bent out. I mean, I'm talking some of the stuff that I saw out there over the last few days about this. I mean, and we're not even 2 months in, 3 months in. We're not even 3 months in to a 4-year presidency of President Trump. After what we just came out of, the darkness, the abyss, the horrendous conditions that this country, the closeness to being gone as a country. You would think that we'd be happy. I would think that we would understand and pray hard and pray for our leaders and thank God that, again, we've got a man in office that's trying to rule right. People don't appreciate it. People don't appreciate it. And then these same people will complain if the country was to go back left in 26 and go back to a turmoil that we had in 26, they'd be the first on Twitter to start complaining about the conditions of the country and complaining about the fact their rights are being taken away. And again, I just shake my head at that. Look, I'm not here to extol a man. I am not a Trump worshiper. I'm not anybody's worshiper except one, and that's Jesus Christ tonight. but I love my country. And we live in a world that is, folks. We don't live in a world that we won't. That's never going to happen until Jesus Christ comes back. And the sooner we Christians understand that and start living like that and start getting our mind out of the sand and stop listening to these right-wing nuts that are just as nutty as the wink nuts on the left, maybe we'll have an easier time of it and we can pray and we can at least be thankful for what we do have in a nation instead of complaining about what we don't have. And that's just a 2 cents or so. That's just my 2 cents about that. I'll amen myself on that. I'll amen myself on that. Carol says, I'm just thankful we have the people we have in those positions. I am too, Carol. I'm actually very thankful. I'm actually very thankful. I know that they're not going to do everything perfect, and they're not going to get everything right, no more than Trump is. But I'll take my chances with Trump any day of the week than the bunch we had running the country before. I'll take my chances with Trump any day of the week. Anyway, all righty. It's 9:50. I'm in good shape time-wise. Got to show you a couple of news stories tonight. We got some video to play. I'm going to come over here on our stage tonight, and let's see what kind of video we can play to lighten the mood a little bit. This is not something to lighten your mood. This is Spring Hill, Tennessee today. This is James Spann. That tornado right there was south of Nashville this afternoon. Our dear buddy Jason Miller sent me a video from his house, and let me see here if I can find it. Did I download it? I thought I downloaded it. I thought I did. I know I got it. Hang on just 1 second. I've got it somewhere here. I've got it here somewhere. Where is it, Jason? I know you sent it to me, buddy. But Jason and them were very, 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 very close to this tornado, and they were looking north when he sent it to me. Oh, here it is, right here. I knew I had it. I want you to look at this. This is Jason Miller's house today, or at least looking north from his house. That's the same storm. Jason had trees, and he didn't see the full storm that was just north of him today. We're grateful they're okay. Hang on just a second. I'll turn this over so we can, we'll rotate it that way. But you can see the storm passing to their north. That's that same storm I just showed you today. That's in Spring Hill. That's near Nashville. You folks in Nashville need to be on alert tonight. And we've got something to say about that. Here's another view of that storm today as well. That's another view of it. James Spann, our friend up in Birmingham, our great meteorologist. This is another view from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This kind of day it's been, folks. Let me tell you something. This kind of week it's been. And there have been some ugly looking tornadoes and storms that have hit the deep south. Folks in Bay, Arkansas, and other places in Missouri have just been reaped. 8 people are dead tonight. I wanted to show you this right here. This is James Spann today. He posted this. This is how historic event this has been. He said, this is a look at the various warnings issued by the National Weather Service offices across the country yesterday, Wednesday, and last night. This is the third in all time volume for a single event ever, since they've been keeping records since 1950. Third time. You know what was number one? An event that took place almost 50 years ago, 51 years ago, 1974, April the 3rd and April the 4th, called the Super Outbreak. I was a 9-year-old child in Atlanta, Georgia, when that super outbreak occurred. And also 2011, which was the second most highest single day event on April the 27th and 28th of 2011, where nearly 750 people lost their life across the South. And the very similar setup that we had yesterday. Every dot you see in there in the red were tornado warnings. Everything in the yellow were severe storm warnings. The green are flash flood warnings. Third time, all-time event in one day to have those many warnings issued in the nation. He said we won't know the number of tornadoes for several days when storm surveys are complete. I would dare say we probably had close to 100 yesterday across the Deep South. They're ongoing tonight. They're ongoing tomorrow. They're ongoing Friday. They're ongoing Saturday and Saturday night. And they are going to be down here in the Southeast on Sunday. So we've had from Monday all the way to Sunday, 7 days of this non-stop. We had an earthquake today near the Canadian border, 6.8. We have it on our timeline. And as far as we know, no injuries of that quake today. The death toll in the Burma quake has raised up to 3,000. That number is probably going to rise as well. The Bangkok, Thailand. Jason sent me something. I may have shared this with you. You realize that both the Bangkok, Thailand earthquake has an Israel tie to it. It's very interesting. The last time that Bangkok, Thailand saw a solar eclipse was May the 9th of 1948. It's 5 days before Israel was reformed as a nation. The solar eclipse that hit the country this week was Sunday night, or Sunday, May 28th or 29th, I think. And I think it was the day before the solar eclipse that they had this 7.7 earthquake. And 7.7 is interesting. If you take 1948 and add 77 to it, you get 2025. Israel connection. Miller's rubbing off on me. I'm glad Jason's okay. That's a dangerous storm. That could have been a lot worse for him and his family tonight had that come over their home. That was close. That was a close call. But 2 times solar eclipse, because Bangkok saw both of them. That solar eclipse this time was not seen by the whole country. It was seen more west in that Indonesia area. So interesting stuff. But folks, this is historic and it's not over. We've had a full day of it today. We're going to have a night of it tonight and have a night of it Saturday, and Sunday is going to rev up, and Monday too, you folks in the far East Coast and so forth. All righty. Let's see here. What else we got? This is Kennedy today about these Dems. You just got to love John Kennedy. I like him. Here's Mr. Kennedy. Roll the tape.
He's saying, we're only going to be going at about half of what they do to us to try and reinforce that idea to the American people that this isn't just, he's not just trying to gut the economy. He's really trying to do what's right for this country, right?
Yes, and I understand where the president is coming from. I understand his objective. I share it. America's the wealthiest country in all of human history. We buy a lot of stuff. Every business in every foreign country wants to sell stuff to Americans. What the president is saying is, if you want to sell stuff to Americans, move your business to America and hire Americans and contribute to our economy. Don't just sell us stuff. And I agree with him. In the long run, he's right. But in the long run, we're all dead. The short term matters as well. And the truth is that we don't know what the impact will be short term on the American economy. I've heard a bunch of economists over the last month. Some say that it will cause the economy to grow exponentially. Others say the tariffs will tank the economy. My experience with Washington economists is that they make those late-night psychic hotlines look respectable. Nobody knows the impact of these tariffs. We're just going to have to wait and see.
I know a lot of folks that make them late-night psychic hotlines look respectable. Y'all remember those? I just love Kennedy. I just love him. I mean, I would move to Louisiana just so he could be my senator. I got to play that last line back, these last 15 seconds. This is how I look about half of the crap I see on the internet.
To grow exponentially. Others say the tariffs will tank the economy. My experience with Washington economists is that they make those late-night psychic hotlines look respectable. Nobody knows the impact of these tariffs. We're just going to have to wait and see.
That's exactly right. Well spoken. By the way, didn't know if you heard about this. Mr. Fauci's missus, that's her right there, you can kiss her job goodbye at the NIH. RFK Jr., just for this alone, gets Man of the Year. He fired her today. By the way, she was part of why you and I had to mask up like a bunch of ignoramuses in 2020 and 2021 because of what the NIH was pushing. It's amazing how these connections always get backroom deals and back bedroom deals. That's Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Fauci right there. Well, she's no longer going to be making those decisions at the NIH. Thank you, RFK Jr. We appreciate you doing that for us. I really am grateful for you. Here is, speaking of individuals that make the psychic hotline look normal, these are the Georgia Dems today, after the Republicans brought the vote to the floor, that we're not going to pay for sex changes to prisoners. Roll tape. There they go. There they go. That's all Democrats.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I want you to listen to the applause.
I figured the leader wrong. I can walk.
Listen to the applause.
Thank you.
Did you hear thank you? They're not thanking the American taxpayer. They're not thanking the Georgia taxpayers for paying their salary. And they're thanking the Dems for walking out, trying to take your money, Georgia, and pay for sex changes to prisoners. Just a lovely bunch, are they not? Just a lovely bunch. Here's Steve Doocy this morning. You know why they hate Elon Musk, folks? And I want you folks on the right that are drawing horns on them on your Facebook pages and your Twitter posts and your little daddy issue, and I need attention, so I need to post something about 666 and Elon Musk, and he's the devil and Trump's the devil. I want you to listen to this, folks, because this is what Elon's trying to do to keep you from not having a Social Security check when you have to slurp spaghetti out of a straw. Roll the tape.
That's a jaw-dropping number. Where did all those people come from?
Well, it made my jaw drop too when I saw it. We were in Social Security looking for fraud, waste, and abuse. And to do that, we actually looked at the enumeration system, the system by which people get numbers in America. And we found that there were just about 5+ million of them that came to the country as illegals, were giving various forms of parole or allowed in the country, and then got through an automatic system, Social Security numbers, to get into our benefit systems. And we tracked that through and found that they were on the benefit programs. And just because we were curious, we then looked to see if they were on the voter rolls. And we found in a handful of cooperative states that there were thousands of them on the voter rolls and that many of them had voted.
Good grief. Did you hear that, folks? This is Antonio Gracias, CEO of the $26 billion private equity firm Valor Equity Partners. He's volunteered of his own time to assist Doge in exposing fraud, waste, and abuse within the Social Security Administration. It's administration that's going to be writing checks for those of you out there when you can't work and you're on Social Security. That's going broke tonight. It's going broke. Within days, his team has uncovered that 5 million non-citizens, folks, illegals, illegals, criminals, illegals, criminals, illegals, 5 million illegal criminals have been issued Social Security numbers, and thousands of them were not only registered to vote, but they cast ballots in 2024. So no wonder we hate Elon. No wonder the left hates Elon. By the way, we did a story today, and I don't think I've got time. I hope I got time to do this. Where is it? We've got so much to talk about tonight, and I'm not going to have time. We've got tomorrow night. We'll figure it out tomorrow night. But there is going to be a event over the weekend, and it is intriguing. Hang on just a second. Dory sent this to me, and I want to mention it tonight because there is that hands-off event. Here we go. Let me put this up. This is Axios, and I want to show you this real quick. We got a few more videos in this. I'm going to take your questions. I think I've scared everybody tonight. Don't be scared of the Mac Man. We're good. You ain't going to be able to read it. I'll tell you what. Axios, we're going to put this, I'm going to put this story in our Telegram room right now. I encourage you to go see it. Go to it. There's going to be a protest across the country Saturday called the Hands Off Anti-Trump Protest. And we talked about it on the radio show today. It's basically being run by a bunch of left-wing loon bombs, including the Center for LGBTQ Economic Advancement, the Declaration for American Democracy, words they don't understand, the Human Rights Campaign, and the Indivisible and Planned Parenthood. Go figure. Why are they doing this? Well, this is their quote, and I'm going to just read you the quote. They say that this is not corruption that's going on in our country tonight. This is just mismanagement, not just mismanagement. This is a hostile takeover. More than 1,100 rallies with up to 250,000 people, that's 500,000 folks, are going to be touring D.C. The garden tours scheduled for Saturday were postponed to Sunday because this is going to be going on this weekend. Protesters are rallying against the administration's policies, and here they go. Are you ready for this? The handling of Social Security benefits. I just played you the video. They believe it's okay that 500 million, or how many was it? 5 million of them got illegal aliens. Basically 5 million illegal aliens were given Social Security cards, benefits, and rights to vote. They're okay with that. God forbid we get rid of that. Layoffs across the federal workforce. They are okay with the fact that you've got people that hadn't reported to work in a year or two and gotten paychecks. Man, I wish I had a job like that. Attacks on consumer protections and anti-immigrant policies. Folks, there's no such thing as an anti-immigrant policy on the books. If you're talking about anti-illegal policies, I guess that would probably upset me too if I believed illegals were supposed to be here. And they call them attacks on transgender people. I've not seen one attack on a transgender people. We just don't want you participating as a man in a women's sports. There's two genders, a man and woman. That's not an attack. That's just common sense. That's just godly wisdom. I've not seen anybody attack a transgender. We don't want you reading your queer books to our kindergartners and our 4-year-olds and our 5-year-olds. We're not into that. I don't think that that's being mean-spirited. I don't think that's being an attack. I think we're just trying to protect our kids. We don't want you running around molesting and abusing our children. I don't think that's an attack on transgender people. But the hands-off folks that are going to be rallying in a city near you this weekend, these protests are against Elon Musk's involvement. They don't like Elon either. Go figure. And the federal government via Doge, and this is after he's faced a wave of demonstrations at Tesla dealerships worldwide. And this will occur at federal state capitals, federal buildings, congressional offices, and city centers. And again, the Center for the LGBTQ Economic Advancement and Research teams behind this tonight, the Declaration for American Democracy. They do not know what democracy is. It's not a democracy, folks. This is a republic. Human Rights Campaign and Indivisible and Planned Parenthood. Go figure. Just some winning groups, winning organizations are behind these great protests. Look for it this weekend. I'm sure to give you the warm fuzzies. And that map there, I think you can at least see that map. I'll bring the map up. That is where they're supposed to be planning their events. And a lot of them are in the Northeast. But 250,000 people. April the 5th. Supposed to take to the nation. And I'm assuming these are the cities. Yeah, these are all the cities that they're planning to be in. There's one down there where we're at. A rally in Dothan. And then all throughout Georgia. And, we may have to go... I may have to go down there and do a McFiles live event with the cowboy hat on and ask these yahoos what they're doing. Not cool. Not good. Not good, not good, not good. I wanted to play one more video for you. This is Newt Gingrich. I think we may have played something similar to this. Oh, I know. I'm going to save that one for tomorrow night. Did you see this today? And then I'm going to take your questions. I got a story or two I needed to share with you tonight, but we'll get it tomorrow night because I don't want to keep you too long tonight. Did you see this brush up today on Fox News? Martha McCallum, and I've watched X, the left thinks that Chris Coon, beat her down. The right thinks Martha beat him down. That's our poll question. So get your. I don't have the time to put the poll up, but I want you to tell me who you think beat who down in this video. Coon's trying to defend illegals and defend the attacks on Elon Musk and telling Martha that the inspector generals can audit the Social Security, that we don't need Elon to do it because we've got inspector generals doing it. Martha's response is, I'm not a Fox News fan, but I have to give Martha McCallum a little tip of the hat. I think she handled herself quite well. Watch this exchange today on Fox. Roll the tape.
This administration, Martha, fired the inspector general of USAID when he filed complaints about the waste of huge amounts of food aid left rotting on docks.
Let me ask you
Rather
something.
than dealing with that fraud, they fired
That's a lie, by the way.
I'm amazed by, so you're saying that I'm assuming that there's waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's equally surprising that you are assuming that the government is functioning in an efficient way. When we all
That's not
know,
what I said. That's not what I said.
Well, then what have
Martha, there are inspector generals in every single agency that are there to find waste, fraud, and abuse.
They've done a fantastic bang-up job. I mean, when you look at the number...
And to start the administration by firing all of them does not suggest a deep interest in listening to these career, nonpartisan
I don't know why you don't want to
inspectors
hear it.
general about waste.
No, you can't just put your fingers in your ear and go, blah, blah, blah. It's not happening. We all know
that's not at all what I'm doing, Martha.
Yes, you are, Chris.
Let me repeat the point.
And these
if
people...
Elon Musk says that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme.
It is.
And this president has fired the relevant inspectors general.
Yeah.
He should have, Chris. Roll the tape.
Who are the people most capable Not a bunch of 20-year-old software
engineers. Why are they the most capable?
No, the 20-year-old software engineers are not lobbyists and people taking money behind the scenes and being paid to turn the other way and turn a blind eye to your corruption and your party's corruption, Chris Cohn. And we're not being paid. These 20-year-old kids, I put a lot more faith. I've got more faith in these 20-year-old nerds than I do you and your entire cauldron of communist, Marxist Democrats. I've got far more faith in these 20-year-olds than I do any of you politicians in D.C. tonight running your freaking traps. Get him, Martha. Tell him.
With no previous government
These
experience.
people, did you watch this interview, Senator? Did you watch the interview? Did you watch this?
Accountants.
Did you watch the interview?
Which interview? I don't know what you're talking
the one
about.
I just...
You don't know what you're talking about. That sums up a politician. Run their trap. He's rude, by the way. He's being very rude. They invited him on, and she's just trying to get him to see that Musk is just trying to get the fraud out of Social Security, but he's telling her that these inspector generals who have been there for decades and not done anything about it have the capacity to do the job better than these 20-year-old nerds. And she said basically, oh, they've done a swell job, Chris, so far.
Yelling so much.
No, I can't, because I can't get a word in edgewise. I'm trying to ask you a question. That's my job. So
you go right ahead.
There was an excellent panel on Special Report. These are not 25-year-old, whatever people have been calling them. They're very seasoned executives who have made a lot of money and run good businesses efficiently, where they only use the number of people to get the job done that they needed. They gave up their livelihood and they left their families and they came to Washington to try to give their expertise to some of these agencies that are...
I cannot believe he just said that. Elon Musk ran Social Security into the ground. Chris, what kind of universe are you living in, dude? Of course, you are from Connecticut. You are from the Northeast, where liberalism is a mental disorder. I cannot say that enough. Look, Michael Savage became famous for that. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but liberalism is a mental disorder. He's blaming Elon Musk now for, did I just hear him right? Let me roll that back. Is he saying that Elon Musk is the reason for Social Security being run into the ground? He's not running Social Security into the ground. He's trying to get the illegals off the rolls and people that, and the money that's going to 9-month-old babies from Social Security off the rolls.
Have made a lot of money and run good businesses efficiently, where they only use the number of people to get the job done that they needed. They gave up their livelihood and they left their families and they came to Washington to try to give their expertise to some of these agencies that are so sclerotic and wasteful that they are not able to function. So, okay, it would be great if both sides of this, because when I remember there being an active interest by Democrats in saying, what, we know that that there's a lot of waste in our government. Now you're telling me there isn't.
That's not at all what I said.
Yes, it is.
I said in Social Security, the current Trump administration acting Social Security administrator has said publicly less than 1/10 of 1% of the Social Security payments are being improvident, are not being sent to people who are entitled to.
He's not said that.
I agree with you.
He's not said that.
There is waste and fraud in different federal programs, and sign me up for working in a measured, bipartisan, thoughtful way about reducing. I mean, there are in Medicare.
Well, you should talk to the people on the panel here, because I think you'd be pretty impressed with many of them.
This administration.
That is an absolute disgrace for a senator. He was saying, I misunderstood him. I thought he said, I know what he said now. He's claiming that Elon has run Twitter into the ground. No, actually, X is the most popular social media platform out there right now, folks. Look, people love X because they're not censoring the crap out of conservatives. You can get on there and actually say something now and not get your account suspended for 10 years. And free speech. Free speech. I don't think Elon's done any of that. No, the reason Elon's stocks are tanking is because people are blowing his Tesla corporations up and his businesses and blackballing him and calling him every name in the book and falsely accusing him of stuff. And the media's throwing tawdry laundry out in the public and everything else. And the man's personal life has become basically the headlines of the Christian National Enquirer and every fluke and fruitcake out there in the world. So I don't think anybody could survive that onslaught and not have something go down with their businesses. No, I think Elon Musk has done a pretty daggum good job. I mean, he's not perfect, but why the question? I got a question for you all tonight, and we're going to talk about this because I've got other news headlines, but just got to come join me tomorrow on the K-Star show at 2 to 3. That's why we do a K-Star talk show, because we do headlines. We'll do headlines tomorrow. Sum up the week. Why are the Democrats so nervous about Elon Musk? Why are the Republicans so nervous about Elon Musk? I want to know why Christians are so nervous about Elon Musk. I don't get it. And I know that there are some people out there, and they have been more than quick to tell me that I'm just naive. That I'm just, you got to get with the program, McDonald. You got your head in the sand. You're not woke up enough. If you had broadened your horizons and listened to this new age occultism stuff that we got to dish you and talk to you about, if you just come over to our side and let us enlighten you with the Q gospel, then you wouldn't think this way. Well, let me tell you something. You can take your Q gospel and you can stick it in your Doge, because Chris ain't interested. No, I'm very much awake. And I see a man trying to keep our country out of insolvency and keep our country out of bankruptcy. Why is that not what all of us want? I'm just curious. Talk to me tonight. You got 10 minutes. Talk to me tonight. Pat Deb Dolan, question of the night. If these IGs are so good, why is the Social Security going broke? Pat and Deb, good to see you tonight. That is an excellent question. They can't answer that. They can't answer that because it is going broke. It is going broke. Look, the federal government, folks, the Democrats and the Republicans have known Social Security has been going broke for 30 years. For 30 years, they've not done a thing about it. Trump promised when he came into office, I'm going to do something about it. And guess what? He's doing it. Unconventional, mind you. He's brought in the world's richest man. He's brought a bunch of computer nerds. I'm willing to give these nerds a shot. I'm less concerned about the nerds than I am people running their traps like Christopher Kuhn up there. That sounds just like a used car salesman, don't he? Snake oil salesman. That's what politicians, that's why they're so greasy. That's why we can't stand politics in this country. That's why we can't stomach anything coming from these people's mouth. Sitting there defending all of this stuff and trying to tell Martha McCallum with a straight face that there's just a little bit, just less than 0.111% of fraud in Social Security. And I just played you the video tonight, folks. You had 5 million illegals that were granted Social Security cards and were voting with them. And there is no telling how much money they were getting. Your money. When many of you get to the age that you can't work and you're going to have to depend on that Social Security check to live and pay your grocery bill and your light bill and your rent and your mortgage, guess what? And they're going to tell you, well, I'm sorry, we ain't got nothing for you. Of course they ain't going to have nothing for you because it's all gone to the illegals. But Chris Kuhn, no, there ain't no fraud. And I can't stomach because Elon Musk has run Twitter into the ground and Elon Musk is evil and Elon Musk is 666. Just like Anyway, let's see what you got to say. Nate Bullock says that's because they're afraid they're going to uncover something. Well, Nate, that's a given. I see the common theme that they're afraid of the corruption. Patty Andrews says he's been there for years and has done nothing. It ain't just him, Patty. It's all of them. That's the truth of it, but they're all guilty of it. Terry says, Mad Maxine told us she doesn't know what all they have on them. That's the truth. Terry, I think that to me, I think is it. I think they are scared to death at what is about to come out. And I heard tonight, I don't know how true it is, we're trying to track it down, that Kash Patel has given sort of a heads up behind the scenes that the FBI is about to lower the hammer, and the Department of Justice is about to lower some justice on some people that have done some pretty criminal things in this nation over the last 5 to 10 years, and they've let them simmer, and they've been starting investigations into people that we've been wanting them to do for a long time. We'll see if that's true or not. Terry, I think that's well said. They don't know what we got on them. Chris Coons doesn't even have the sense to protect his own daughter from Pedo Joe. That's true. That's true, Terry. Corey Aguilar says, didn't they say that years ago Social Security is going broke because boomers are living longer? That's Nancy Pelosi's thing. Yeah, that's Nancy Pelosi's thing, Corey. She said that. Dennis, he's working for free. Thank you. Thank you. He's working for free. And folks, when you get down to it, Trump's working for free. I still think Trump don't even draw a salary. He did draw a salary the first term, and I don't think he's drawing a salary the second term. He's getting slandered and lied about for free. Elon Musk is working for free. He's not getting any money. We're not paying him to do anything. He's not drawing a salary for any of this. Dennis, that's a well-said point. It's a well-said point. I understand the left. I don't understand the Christian right. While they are all messed up with Trump, with Musk. I don't get it. If Trump and him if we were trying to pick a pastor over our church, I guess I could understand this, but we're talking about government waste, fraud, and abuse, and somebody that's just trying to do a job to make sure, again, all of us, if the Lord tarries that long, has a Social Security check waiting for us when we get to be at the age that we can't go to the bathroom by ourselves. I guess it's the only way I can put it. And we're going to depend on Social Security to pay our bills. There ain't going to be no money, folks. If this keeps up, there ain't going to be no money. There's no money in there tonight. I'm not sure there's any money in there now. But if there's any hope of there going to be money, we better get this stuff fixed now. We better get this stuff fixed now. The Democrats have IGs in place that look the other way. Roger, that's a given. That's a given. That's my point. And you know something, Roger? That was Martha McCallum's point to Coons. They've done a swell job, Chris. Now, again, I've watched the reaction on the Twitter rolls today. The left have retweeted that video I just showed you, and they have been bragging today that Coons handed McCollum her lunch. The right has been saying McCollum handed him his lunch. I'm just curious. Put an M, you don't have to type her name out, just put a Mac, MC. People will think you're talking about me, but you're really talking about McCollum. Put an MC if you think Martha won that debate today. Put a C, put a CC if you think Chris Coons won that debate. I'm just curious what we do. I don't have time to put a regular poll up, but I'm just curious who you think won that discussion today. I give Martha the edge. I think she handed him his butt. Lori or Lucy says all of them have had their hand in the cookie jar. Yeah, that's the truth. They have had it in their cookie jar, Lucy, and they don't care. But I'm going to tell you, the cookie jar is about to be taken away, and we got about 3 minutes. We got a lot more to talk about. But I'm curious who y'all thought won that debate. By the way, we've got a story. We don't have time to talk about this tonight, but these are some of the headlines that we will talk about tomorrow night, and we may get James Akers back, and we got Alice Linehan. We're going to play that video tomorrow night, probably of her. Same judge blocking the CIA efforts to fire DEI employees hamstrung the Steele dossier prosecution. No surprise there. Wall Street took some hits today because cowards started selling off stocks because of the tariffs. This is tornadoes, widespread damage. Over 300,000 people are without power tonight, and our prayers for all the things. Macron, we talked about this. He's telling Europe not to invest in America thanks to Trump. And this is something we're going to talk about tomorrow night. That Iran terror organizations are infiltrating our U.S. universities to indoctrinate students. That's nothing that should shock us, but at least somebody's reporting on it, and that is important. Hey, I want to tell you, we got a brand new website to tell you about. It's still under construction, but we got a lot done on it today. We're about, I'd say, 60% done with it. I want you to write this down, and we're going to have it up hopefully by this time next week, maybe sooner. The Mac News Report. It is a website that you can go to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get the latest headlines of weather, the international news, Israel. I'll tell you what, let me see if I can pull it up this way. Your screen's going to go dark just for a second. And let me see if this may pull this up, and I'll show you. Let's see if this... Oh, it does bring it up. Yes. Now, you're not going to see it as good on here as you will on your computers. But we have got this beautiful site that is coming that is going to be a companion to our Telegram room. And when you go to the headlines for the news, this is from Breitbart and some other feeds. And you see this thing that just stopped here. The ticker is always going 24/7 updating. We got the latest updates from the weather from the National Severe Storm Forecast Center. This is a live feed. This was just a few minutes ago. Every time you go there, if there's any severe weather warnings in the country, any kind of statements or anything about severe weather, you've got it here. This is in progress. This will be fully updated. We've got a page dedicated to just Israel. And these are some of the most important news sites regarding Israeli news from Jerusalem and other things. That's the Jerusalem Post feed there. Now, we're going to have a page for faith. We're going to have a page for McDonald opinion. Justice in the courts. This will be our McJustice page. We will have a sports page. And we're going to have a meme and cartoon page. We're going to have old Tony Branco's cartoons on here and some other ones. And then there's a couple of other pages, a contact page, and then you can go back here. So, I'm excited about this website. It's going to be sort of a companion to our radio show, but also to you guys that don't have Telegram, because I know a lot of you don't have Telegram. And but you should get it. And it links to all of our other websites, and it will help you keep updated on the news 24/7. And if we run out of time, like we always do on our show, you can just go to that website and see all the headlines and the latest things that are going on any time of the day or night, 24/7. So if you like to buy an ad for that website and put your business on there, contact me at McFilesr@gmail.com. We'd love to talk to you about it, because it's going to be a great website, and we will definitely give you a deal to advertise on it. Anyway, most people, it's about 100%. I don't see any CCs in there at all. Ariam, I have no idea what you're talking about, the Ark of the Covenant. I haven't addressed it. Sorry. This is a new show, Ariam, tonight. We've talked about what we're going to talk about. Not to sound crash there, Ariam, but no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, we're grateful that you're here tonight. Did you enjoy the show? Put some fire in that house, and we're grateful for you. And so for Terry, you know, you're right. We were warned. We have been handed over to a depraved mind. It's biblical. You know, Terry, I think that I think you're correct. It is. And Stephen, you're right. We do need to pray for his safety. RM pastors are probably caught up in the fraud, according to Elon. I don't doubt that. But this goes beyond that. Look, that's a whole different discussion. That's a whole different discussion. I just want him to do what he's called to do. Trump is, and you know, if you're going to get mad at Elon, and you're going to get mad and call him the devil, they call Trump the devil, which a lot of people do. He's just doing what Trump told him to do for free. So I'm okay with what he's doing. I'm okay with what he's doing. And it remains to be seen about the pastors. It remains to be seen what pastors will be caught up in this or not. I don't know. But anyway, Mary said neither one. Maybe, Mary, you're right. I think that he was very rude. Myself, my personal opinion was Martha was asking him some legitimate questions. These Dems, I've said it before, folks, they can dish this stuff out, but when you corner them in a corner and get them to have to answer a question, they do exactly what Chris Coons did. And he wouldn't let her talk. And that's the left. They cannot take it. They just cannot take it. All righty. I can take it all night, but I'm going to let you go because Chris has got to get ready for another show tomorrow. And I'm grateful that you all have been with me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the McFiles. And RM, I have no idea about the CIA releasing information on the Ark of the Covenant. Let's please, I just told you I have not talked about it. I don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Email me, folks. If you got a question about something on the show, please just send us an email, McFilesforum@gmail.com. It's just out of courtesy. Please do that. Okay? Please do that. When you put us on the spot like that, if we heard about this or that and the other, likely we haven't. If we hadn't talked about it, we haven't. I'm not trying to be mean tonight, but McFiles Forum is why we set up the emails that you can send us those kind of questions, because I have not heard about it, and we'll see about it. Anyway, Carol, you're right. He's doing what voters want him to do. That's exactly right. He sure is. Good to see everybody tonight. Good to see all you Facebook folks, X folks. We had a good crowd tonight. We was topping about 250 there for a minute overall, including the Rumble folks. We love you, Rumble folks. TheMcFiles.org. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock, for the K-Star Talk Radio award-winning. We'll be a month old tomorrow. We'll be on radio 1 month. And then I'll see you back in the morning on the Face Side Bible study tomorrow afternoon, K-Star, and then tomorrow night we'll do a wrap-up show. We've got a short interview with Alice Linehan we're going to try to play. If not, we'll play it Monday night. It's good. It's about the education system and her take on Linda McMahon. It's pretty good stuff, actually. So, my dear friend, it's good to see her. And it was good to see Leslie Millway tonight. Y'all continue to pray for these folks in the path of these storms. Be safe out there, folks. You got some dangerous weather. It's not over with. We got 4 more days of this stuff. We got tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all from the middle part of the country. And this stuff is about to move east and south. And tomorrow, actually, there's going to be a more dangerous setup even than today in Arkansas and Tennessee and Kentucky again. And this rain that is about to fall is going to be generational and biblical. So, stay safe out there, okay? May God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. I will see you back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good night, everybody, and be blessed. All May 1st.